A breezy morning to everyone. Today, let's see a play by Thornton Wilder titled Our Town. Our Town is a play that takes the audience through the cycles of life with the purpose of getting a universal message stating that life shouldn't be taken for granted. Thornton Wilder explores the relationship between the isolated individual occasion and the innumerable repetitive patterns that emerge to create enduring truths. Through this 1938 meta-theatrical three-act play, Our Town. Thornton Wilder was born in 1897 and died in 1975. He won the first Pulitzer Prize for the novel The Bridge of San Luis Rey, published in 1927. He won the second Pulitzer Prize for Our Town in 1938. And he won the third Pulitzer Prize for The Skin of Our Teeth, published in 1943. Thornton Wilder wrote a play called The Matchmaker, published in 1954, which was turned into the musical Hello Dolly in 1964, which earned 10 Tony Awards on Broadway. Thornton Wilder questions: do any human being ever realize life while they live it? To Thornton Wilder, human life, however painful, dreary, or inconsequential in its daily events, is both a precious gift in its own right as well as a portion of the mysterious plan that rests in the mind of God. Let us now see the setting of our town. Where does our town take place? Well, our town takes place in Grover's Corners, New Hampshire from 1901 to 1913. The events in the play Our Town by Thornton Wilder are spanning from 7th of May 1901, 3 years later in July 1904, and in summer 1913, the characters are the ordinary Americans and the two families of Gibbses and Webbs. In the first act, the children, George Gibbs and Emily Webb, go to school. They get married in the second act. The third act shows the cemetery on the day of Emily's funeral, the moment and eternity of the two poles between which the characters live, just like everyone else does. As Wilder addresses future generation with his characters' words, this is the way we were in our growing up, and in our marrying, and in our living, and in our dying. The way he connects the past, the present, and the future into a single indivisible stream of life. Grover's Corners is a fictitious town representing a small town America at the turn of the century. It represents the out of the way simple existence of life, modeled after Peterborough, New Hampshire. Thornton Wilder says it's a little play with all the big subjects in it. The play aims to capture the universal experience of being alive and existing. It's a representation and celebration of small town American life. Every character in our town loves Grover's Corners and acknowledges its small mindedness and dullness. The play is divided into three acts: Act 1, Daily Life; Act 2, Love and Marriage; and Act 3, Life and Death. The play is the conjunction of everyday life with overall existence that creates a philosophical theme of the play. What are the central values of our town? 1. Christian morality. Love your neighbor as you love yourself, known as the Golden Rule. 2. Transience of human life. 3. The importance of companionship. 4. Appreciation of everyday pleasures. Thornton Wilder reflects on the statement: our climb, our hope, our despair are in the mind, not in scenery. The play begins with the stage directions: no curtain, no scenery. At the time when our town was on Broadway, theatrical presentations were lavish. But Thornton Wilder was being radical and experimental. He experimented with no scenery, few props, mimed actions, and dramatis persona who fluidly travels in and out of the action of the play. Setting, the stage manager, mime, flexibility of time or the stylistic innovations in our town. In our town, Thornton Wilder intends to capture the universal experience of being alive. He does this by addressing three universal themes: daily life, love, and death. The play is realistic and presents the minute details of daily life. A milkman delivers milk. A family has a hurried weekday breakfast. Two young people fall in love. Simple acts like eating breakfast, feeding chickens become dramatic scenes that indicate significance in seemingly mundane events. Thornton Wilder innovates a new concept of realism, which devises emphasizing the artificiality of theatre, the stage manager, the stage bar setting, and the mime. The life on the stage becomes representative of real life by Wilder's metaphorical and symbolic manipulation. The stage manager is an omnipresent onlooker. He takes part in the fictional realm of the play. Occasionally, he acts as an inhabitant of Grover's Corners, as a druggist, alderman, and the minister. His verisimilitude enables him to exist both within the world of the Grover's Corners and the audience. His informal treatment of flow of time, pleasing conversational tone bridges the gap between the audience and the stage. The fictional time of the play covers two realms of existence with their time zones: the time of the living and the time of the dead. These two time zones are not entirely separated, for they interrelate when Emily returns to relive a situation from her previous life, her 12th birthday. The time zone covers the duration of plot. 13 years performances cover 1 day span. The play is told in linear narration, and Wilder interrupts it with many elements like flashback technique and foreshadowing. The flexibility of time leads to the beautiful representation of the play. To Wilder, a society is a timeless concept. All the living people who ever lived and the unborn ones are bonded to one another. These bonds embrace the entire history of human race and the history of earth. Wilder shows how the seemingly narrow human world of daily life in an unremarkable town is embedded in the infinite circle of the universal history. Wilder has employed mime to emphasize the artificiality of the theatre and to assert that the play presents a representation of reality. Examples are the milkman, cooking mothers, creaking doors, the paper boy, and the children's imaginary breakfast. All three acts begin in the morning, which is always a new beginning. Morning is a time of the day that has a repetitive course. The time capsule embodies the human desire to keep a record of the past. Thornton Wilder challenges this notion and has the stage manager place our town into the capsule to enable people opening it into the future to appreciate the daily lives of the town's people from the past and their own daily lives in future. Thank you. Have a nice day.